Warning, spoilers are present in this episode.
Third World Cinema Club.
So hello everyone again. Good evening. Yan, welcome to Third World Cinema Club again. For this very special Cinemalay 2023 episode. I'm John Tawasil from Present Confusion, and with me is Ces Kinok of Film Police Reviews. Sige,
Hi.
Ces, ikaw na bala.
Okay, yes. Hi, John. So thank you so much for watching, tuning in. Ayan, sa mga By the way, this episode is recorded live on Facebook. Yay! Although pwede na kami magkita-kita, but syempre, busy kami, most of us. So, ayun. So, by the way, we have very special guests for tonight. So, kapwa colleagues namin sila sa isang community of film reviewers. Yes, may film reviewers po dito sa Pilipinas. So, please welcome the Society of Filipino Film Reviewers, quote-unquote Friday Group. Hi! Hi!
Hello.
Yan. Masaya sila. Yan. Okay, so dahil lahat kami mga 80s, 90s babies, so we're into the theme of That's Entertainment. Of course, this is the Cinemalaya episode 2023. So I'd like you guys to introduce yourselves and your where you work and write. Yeah. So let's start with Manny.
Ay, wow. According to age ba to?
Sa Square. Sa Zoom. On my view.
Ayun.
Yeah.
Kasi,
Nag-explain.
si Manny Pangaroy, nagbablog ako dati yung Tagailog Special, pero nag-stop na ako. Kasi nag-stop na ako. So, ano ba? Wala akong credentials eh. Siguro madalas nyo lang makita sa mga film festival, pakalat-kalat or nanonood ng sine. And then, yung outlet ko siguro, Twitter. Wala akong letterbox kasi matanda na ako. So, yun lang. Ayun.
Thank you so much, Manny. And next, Ronald Cruz, former president, by the way, of Society of Filipino Film Reviewers. Yes.
Si Manny, former secretary. Ay, treasurer pala.
Former treasurer. Oh, yes.
Hello, good evening. I'm glad to be here. I'm Ron Cruz. My day job is I'm a biology teacher in a private university in Quezon City. And kita naman sa background ko na medyo marami akong diverse interests. Here you see mga books ni Junji Ito, horror, but you also have BTS. I'm an army. And in terms of where I have my reviews sa Letterboxd, I have a Letterboxd account. So doon. Yes, hello.
Okay, thank you so much. And next, JR Junidan.
Hi, I'm JR. Wala rin akong credentials masyado. Tambay lang ako ng Letterboxd, tsaka nakikialam ng mga reviews ng mga tao, sumisilip-silip. Plus sa Twitter, minsan nag-drop ako ng mga thoughts ko about sa film. So, yun lang.
Thank you so much. And next, Nico Quijano.
Hello, I'm Nico Quijano, member ng SFFR, lawyer by profession, and I've been going to Cinemalaya since its second year. Walang palya. Yun lang.
All right, and last but not the least, June Mendoza.
Ayan, hello. June Mendoza, IT project manager by night. Night talaga kasi. And also, umate ng Cinemalaya taon, pero hindi kasing tanda ni hindi ba kasi tagal ni Nico, pero have been trying to go to
I
Cinemalaya.
resent that, June.
Ay, sorry.
Sensitive.
Sensitive pagka. Hindi naman. Sa Letterboxd lang din ako sa reviews, pero more of like tambay ng cinema. So, ayun. Yun lang.
So all in all, wala kaming credentials lahat.
Sa Wednesday
Mga tambay
group
lang kami.
credentials eh.
Oo, sorry, naubos na sa Wednesday group. Mga latak lang kami.
Nako, magagalit ang mga filmmakers sa inyo. Hindi kayo marunong gumawa ng pelikula. Tapos kuda sa pelikula.
O, diba? So kami, itong group na to, yung diverse film audience, ayan, na may kakayahang magsulat kahit walang credentials, per se. Pero may credentials pa din, of course. Ayan. So, ayun. So, for this group, we're gonna talk about 5 films, the other 5 films from the 10 feature films ng Cinemalaya. First off will be Rookie, second is Scatter, As If It's True, Huling Palabas, Bulawan Nga Usa, and may tunghayan niyo rin po yung bonus round where we're gonna talk about some current issues and whatever bruhahas that they've experienced during this year's Cinemalaya, because again, ang Cinemalaya ay parang meka naming mga film fanatics. So we're all there to embrace the culture. Mas sumakit ang leeg kakatingin ko sino-sino nandun, and sino pa yung gusto namin makitang mga film cinephiles din. So, all right, let's, without further ado, by the way, this episode can be listened to on Spotify and Google Podcasts and Apple Podcasts din. So, abangan niyo po yung full version. For now, please do like and share our page kung nakikinig kayo ngayon sa page. So, ayan, all right. Okay, so simulan na tayo dyan. All right, so let's start with one of the most talked about film during this year's edition. So again, disclaimer, ako po si parang aling pasing, aling bebang. Wala po akong alam sa mga movies ngayon. So they're gonna try to convince me in some
Or not.
ways to, or not. Ayun. So okay, let's start with Rookie, directed by Samantha Lee. So logline niya is that everything changes when an awkward teenager joins the volleyball team and falls for the volleyball team captain. So, all right, who'd like to start their thoughts on this one?
Sige, mag-start ako. Kakaumpisa pa lang ng movie, siguro first few minutes, naisip ko kagad na word is exuberant. Kasi parang sobrang light ng feeling, and parang it's a celebration. Partly, it's a celebration of the volleyball culture that the Philippines has grabbed with a lot of excitement for several years na, no? Dati basketball lang talaga, pero biglang naging sobrang sikat ang volleyball. And siguro out of all the movies, disclaimer, I've watched only 5 out of the 10 ba? 10 films of Cinemalaya this year. Pero dun sa 5 napanood ko, ito yung pinaka nakakatuwang experience sa cinema. Kasi sobrang reaction ng mga tao, sobrang kilig, sobrang natatawa. It's very refreshing. Makita mo yung ganung reaction from the audience. And deserved naman. Maganda yung pagkagawa and may passion, I think. So, yun yung first impressions ko dun sa movie.
O diba, wala siyang credentials pero exuberant yung thoughts agad. Oh. Walang film credentials pero, diba? So that's nice. Who else would like to share?
Sige, ako na.
Nice dead air.
Ako na, sige na.
Sige, Jun.
So, in terms of Rookie, iba naman kasi talaga with past works of Samantha Lee, alam niya talaga kung paano i-narrate yung ganitong type of film. Probably not especially yung queer representation na gusto niyang ipalabas sa isang story like this. Probably she is the perfect person who actually can do this. Ano lang is they marketed it as a sports film as well. Kasi since using it as a means, since it's telling the story of volleyball, yung hindi lang, siguro part na rin na hindi rin siya the time frame of how it was filmed or how gano'ng katagal siya nakuha, and hindi lang, sana mas pulido lang yung sports aspect of the film, especially of action shots, etc. Kasi syempre if we're hiring actors na hindi naman originally marunong mag-volleyball for your flagship of this film, hindi naman natin aasahan na maglabas sila ng isang Alyssa Valdez, di ba? For this short period of time. Pero yung sana lang na-frame siya as much more yung weight ng magiging sports film niya is much heavier. Mas heavier lang yung weight nun compared to it being as a romantic film. But with that said, if we're looking at it as a romantic film, it has its spades. Siguro mate si John niya kasi magkatabi kami ng film screening na para kaming mas malakas yung kilig namin dalawa, na laki namin tao pareho compared dun sa buong row namin. Hindi siya nag-fail dun sa aspect na yun kasi siguro probably that this is the most kilig film that I've seen this year out of all the romantic films that has been happening. So anyway, even though meron ding sort of na parang may question na hindi naman siya nangyayari in real life, like yung can I say a scene in the sorry, just wanted to double check if I can say that. O
Okay
na muna.
go.
May scene kasi dun sa na parang nag-meet yung hands sila sa taas ng net. Tapos nag-land sila, tapos face-to-face dun sa ano.
May
It doesn't
pause, di ba?
happen in
Very
real life.
anime eh. Very anime.
Oo, very
Diba?
anime. May nandun din yung references na yun. And seeing it in real life, na may part na nakakatawa siya, but at the same time, kinikilig ka rin kahit imposible siyang mangyari. So, nakuha nung film yung kilite na yun ng kilig na medyo matagal na natin hindi nakikita with romance films that is coming in.
Siguro idadagdagan ko na lang yung thoughts ni Jun kasi halos magkapareho naman kami ng impression sa pelikula. Yun nga, for a lot, nung nakita kong nanalo siya ng Audience Choice Award, talagang nasabi ko, oo nga, deserve nga nito. Kasi it's a source of comfort for a lot of people in terms of representation. Ako, makakasabi ako, ang dami-daming yung kung isipin mo, daming kumbaga butas sa storya, parang ano ba yung bakit na-attract si Agot Isidro kay Ace or kay Pat dahil lang ba matangkad siya? Sabi niya athletic daw, mabilis, pero hindi naman nagmamasid pa yun sa basketball court. Wala siyang basis eh. Tapos hindi niya kagad tinuruan ng basics kahit na alam niya. As in sobrang beginner pa lang si Ace. Pero alam mo yun, para yun nga yung mga shots na ganun yung makikita sila. Para siyang para siyang romance anime. Para secondary lang yung nangyaring yung sports kung lumabas. Para siyang kung ewan ko kung alam niyo yung ping pong, alam niyo yung pelikulang yun. Parang it's not really about ping pong, it's about, the friends we meet along the way. Pero yun, masaya ako na maraming natuwa sa kanya and hopefully number one, sana mapalabas siya in a wider release at sana mas marami ang makapanood. Kasi, talaga siya eh. I guess yung comfort din extends din to yung nangyari doon sa dalawang characters, si Ace tsaka si Janet, they found comfort in each other. Doon sila nakahanap ng tapang na, for one, kunyari may skandalo nangyari na merong isang staff doon na gumagawa ng improprieties na apparently mukhang nandun na sa buong team nakaranas na at least in one form or another. So they had the courage. Parang sila yung naging support system ng isa't isa. They're each other's comfort. Kaya nai-report nila yon. Which is, ayun, sometimes yung solidarity nyo, you can only find it with each other, yung nakaka-share ng experiences mo eh. And yun nga, comfort, representation, this film probably spoke to a lot of its target audience kaya nag-resonate siya with a lot of people regardless of kung ano mang nitpicks natin doon sa pelikula.
Marami siya magandang message actually, especially nga yung solidarity extending beyond being a team on the court.
Yes,
kasi nga nung nagkaroon sila ng problema with the physical therapist,
yes,
played by Best Actor winner
Nicoy
Morales, na suitably creepy. Magaling talaga siya. They came together, diba? And they really sympathized with one another. Although, maganda rin yung pagkakapakita nun na hindi, not necessarily dahil they have a shared experience, lahat sila, diba? Lahat sila yung nagsumbong or lahat sila lumabas.
Yes.
Hindi. Very realistic nga na they had many fears about the consequences of paglabas nila. So just very quickly, since I mentioned yung anime, siguro marami nakakaalam ng Haikyuu.
Yes.
So, syempre, naman, hindi reasonable to expect na Haikyuu levels yung action, especially anime yun, hindi yun real life. Pero at the same time, I can't help but expect a bit of ganong level ng energy at least. Pero, yun nga, medyo nag-temper dapat ako ng expectations in terms of the sports scenes.
Yun lang talaga yung mahirap sa pagka may certain level of expectation ka talagang kailangan habulin kapag branded siya as sports film. I think ako bilang as upon listening to your reviews guys, parang very interesting din na na-connect niya sa volleyball kasi unbeknownst naman sa lahat or maybe I don't know, general public. Kala siguro ng general public, it's for the gays lang yung volleyball. But they didn't know na it's also very high on the lesbian side din. I know a lot of, some of my friends na gay na girls, they're very into the volleyball scene din. So,
magandang decision yan. Volleyball yung ginamit. Kasi parang wala na siyang, yung director parang wala na siyang masyadong kailangang i-explain kasi minsan nakikita natin mga, di ba, yung may mga lesbian na volleyball players din na very loud sila sa social media and all. So yung paggamit for me nung volleyball, parang, I mean, compared halimbawa, corporate world yung ginamit sa film o hindi siya sports at all. Pero yung paggamit ng volleyball, parang may in-skip na siya na language kasi gets na natin lahat, di ba? And sobrang ang ganda ng sports kasi kita agad natin yung metrics ng performance ng isang tao based dun sa skills niya sa pagba-volleyball. So parang hindi na natin siya sisilipin yung dahil babae sila or yung gender-based na mga discrimination. So parang dun pa lang sa part na yun, gets na natin kung ano tong film. Tapos nag-inject siya nung yung lesbian love. Tapos very Star Cinema yung take, di ba? Sobrang reachable. For me, ito yung parang pinaka-reachable na Samantha Lee na film. Though hindi ko naman napanood lahat. And gusto ko na nailatag siya na gano'n and then effective siya kasi as in naghahampasan yung mga tao sa kilig, sa sobrang kilig dun sa sinihan. So nag-work siya in that aspect. Pero sabi nga ni June kanina, medyo nakulangan din ako dun sa sports aspect. No? Even yung crowd. Pero syempre din naman natin expect na sobrang daming crowd yung makukuha nila. Pero going back dun sa mga, alam mo yung mga comedy ni Dolphy before na mag-end yung film with a match, a basketball match. So parang kahit yun kasi sobrang maayos yung crowd eh. Sobrang dami. Pero ano na lang yun, nitpicking na lang for me. So yun lang. Gusto ko lang idagdag.
Alright. So, and Nico, meron ka bang gustong i-add or anything? Since...
Sa Rookie, actually, ang unang concern ko dun sa Rookie din ay hindi ko alam kung bakit laging umaga yung schedule. I think that was the only screening na pinanood ka na 12:45 kasi I don't like waking up early. So wala akong mahanap na schedule. Tapos nagreklamo ako online na parang bakit puro pang gabi yung screening puro pang umaga yung screening ng Rookie. So I think napansin din yun ni na Sam tsaka ni na Tonet. Pero ang gusto ko about Rookie was discussing something that is openly known sa community but it's not discussed, yung sexual harassment ng coaches kasi that's known to happen sa community, sa volleyball community. And so the fact that they were able to discuss it, kasi I kind of follow volleyball, parang kami ni June, and so alam ko na bawal mag-relationship within the team. At least sa UAAP. I think may isang UAAP player nga na natanggal sa team for having a relationship with someone same team. So dun lang ako parang okay, dun lang ako parang paano ba yun? Doon ako inisip ko parang is this possible? So yun lang naman yung concern. Pero doon ako nag-focus. I think nag-tweet pa nga ako kay Nat sa parang thank you for bringing this issue kasi nakakaano siya eh. I mean, if you hear stories of players na binabata ng coaches, I think that's a term. Binabata ng coaches or inaalay sa coaches, nakakadiri siya. And so the fact na this was discussed sa Cinemalaya film and then you'll see a lot of volleyball players watching it and then you see a lot of volleyball players parang encouraging people to watch it. So I hope this film will open up that topic within the volleyball community. Kasi tama na, I mean, diba, time's up, parang ganon. Tigilan natin yung let's stop kasi nalala ko yung eksena dun and nag-stick siya sa akin eh. Yung eksena na sinumbong na nila si coach, tapos walang nangyari, tinanggal lang siya sa team. And then mag-start siya with another team. Na who could probably start a new cycle of abuse and harassment. So doon ako parang, yes, kasi that's happening eh. Reality yun sa komunidad. So doon ako, kaya sabi ko, sana marami pang makanood ng tsaka sikat naman ng volleyball for having lesbian players. I mean, some of the players are married already, some of the players are open about their relationship. I think most of them. So ang ano ko lang is bakit ang tagal bago nagkaroon ng, I think this is the first sapphic film sa Cinemalaya, no? So yun na yung ano,
Yeah.
bakit it took them 19 years para magkaroon ng lesbian film sa Cinemalaya.
Yung sinabi mo, Nico,
Oo.
na dalawa, na bawal, no? Bawal ang players sa same team.
But that's usually team policy na
Oo.
bawal magjowa sa
Oo.
isang team.
Then naisip ko baka kaya yun yung ending na hindi na wala na sa volleyball si.
Actually, we don't know if they're still together, no?
Yeah,
We don't know that.
open-ended
We don't
yung,
kaya. That's true.
ending.
Or hindi rin clear kung baka nagbago na sila ng gender din, di ba? I mean, yung last part, baka, di ba? I mean, being fluid and all, pwedeng hindi na sila lesbian that time. I mean, yung last
That's
scene
true.
kasi, parang hindi clear for me kung wala siyang commentary on the gender. So parang sinabi lang, ito yung nangyari. Pero pwedeng
career
sila
nila,
pa din,
no?
sa career nila.
Pero gusto ko lang din sabihin yung I agree with June na yung how they filmed the games, the games. Kasi nga naman kasi pag malayo yung shot at kita mo yung buong court, kita mo na hindi nila kayang tumalo ng mataas or hindi nila pangit yung form nila sa pagpalo ng bola or pangit yung set. So parang masisira yung illusion na magaling si Aya, 'di ba?
So I guess kaya siya nanalong best
Best
editing.
editing. Yun nga yung
editing.
parang inisip ko eh. Parang at least naniwala ako na naglalaro talaga sila ng volleyball kahit puro libero lang. Puro floor defense lang yung pinapagawa.
Lahat sila puro libero.
Okay, so ayoko na patagalin pa. Doon na tayo sa next na film. Thank you so much by the way sa review nyo. As much as tinry ko talagang patagalin yung na mapunta tayo sa next na Face Your Fears, guys.
Dinadelay mo ba?
Bakit pa kailangan
Live your
i-delay?
dreams.
Sarap.
Okay, so the next film that we're gonna tackle is Tether. So it's about this man and woman na nagka-night stand. So ang lagline niya is arrogant playboy and the timid young woman discover that any kind of pleasure or pain they inflict on themselves can be felt simultaneously by the other person. Sounds very sige, wag na lang. baka ma-cancel ako. Sige. So
Ano
okay,
yun?
so
Sabihin mo na.
Ano kaya yung sabihin ni Ces dapat?
very very masochistic ha. Uso pa ba yun, San? Char, uso pa pala siya. Anyways,
Sa logline
Let's
pa lang
just
nakuha mo ng Max.
I think pwede na tayo mag-move on sa next film.
Oh my God. Okay. So this film, by the way, is directed by Gian Ares. Sorry pala, kanina the film, nasabi ko na kung sino yung director kanina. So, okay. So this film, Tether, is directed by Gian Ares. So, who would like to start and share their thoughts on this film?
Si Jun daw. Charot.
June?
Parang nasabi na malisis yung kailangan ko sabihin.
My phone patched up from Goldwyn Reviews. Tara.
Pasok tayo.
Okay. Papasukin mo na dyan. Charing. Joke.
Ito na.
I think si John muna para level head.
Sige na. Ito. Fair and balanced. Parang disclaimer, yung time frame ng paggawa ng Tether is very short compared to the other entries. Kasi parang replacement entry siya for another film na hindi natapos in time.
Film.
Yung kay Paul Santa Ana. So, in terms of story, okay lang naman siya, ang Tether. Pero kita-kita mo kasi yung deficiencies niya in form. Kulang sa directing, kumbaga. Walang yung conversations, kung tutusin, the whole film is almost always a bunch of conversations and maybe a couple of sex scenes. Tapos yung conversations, they're very standard, shot, reverse shot. Halos wala kang makitang blocking. May isang scene lang doon na parang mas mataas ng konting level ni Joribel Agoto kay Mikoy Morales na dominance, ganun. Pero yun lang. Otherwise, nakaupo sila sa restaurant, nag-uusap, nasa bar. Yun, ganun. To be fair, tinatry naman nilang i-act out yung script to the best of their ability. Pero yun lang, talaga very limited yung minsan yung napansin ko, kasi the scene, yung para siyang mahabang scene na nag-uusap sila, minsan hindi nila alam kung kailan ika-cut.
Yeah.
Na tipong it just goes on and on and on na parang okay na, you made your point, mag-move on ka na to the next scene. Feel ko mga at least 10 or 20 minutes from the film matatanggal mo that way. If mas kung dinaan mo pa sa isang round ng kumbaga revisions or parang tapos post-production, parang meron ba? Parang hindi yata na post-prod tong pelikula. Kasi yung
Baka mo sa Star City. Charot.
Star City.
Actually, Star City yung like yung pinaka-polished part ng pelikula. Ay, unironically
Yung pinaka-pilitan, yung pa naman yung pinakamagandang part.
Oh, sorry po. Pero kahit na yun nga, yung ito for spoilers, the end of the film is a scene sa Star City. At least may thought na pumasok sa yung pag-juxtapose ng pag-enjoy ni Mikoy Morales dun sa nararamdaman ni Joribel and yung parang signifying freedom, but the rest of the film is not like that. Yung footage parang raw lang. Tapos may yung climactic scene pa na nag-aaway yung dalawa is hindi mo marinig yung si Joribel. Feel ko very important yung information na sinasabi nito. So, yun. Parang A for effort. Feel ko sa ibang Cinemalaya, yung pangit na Cinemalaya year, siguro hindi naman siya at the bottom. It's siguro mga gitna-ish. It's not that bad. Pero nagkataon lang siya na nandun siya sa isang very strong na Cinemalaya year.
Sunod ako kay John kasi
na Cinemalaya film. Charot. Yung lang.
Susunod ako kay John kasi I actually have
sa bonus lang.
I actually have good things to say unlike the others.
Grabe naman.
Hindi naman. Joke lang. Well, I agree na yung mga conversations sobrang hirap panoorin. Parang nasabi ko nga sa Letterboxd review ko na si Mikoy Morales, when he's not flirting, which he was good at, parang hindi siya makabuo ng coherent sentence. Napaisip ako, may script ba to? Or parang pinabayaan lang sila magsalita on their own na walang script. But having said that, sabi ko may maganda akong sasabihin, so doon ako. So number 1, si Mikoy. Magaling talaga si Mikoy. Carrying the emotions, just yung mata niya, especially when he was feeling very defeated and hopeless. Tsaka yung slumping ng shoulders niya. Sobrang carried niya yung emotion. More than Joribel, I think. Joribel was a bit one note for me. I mean, okay naman. She really tried her best. Pero the second good thing that I can say about the movie, ewan ko lang kung magka-agree kayo, pero I love the sequence when they discovered yung nangyari sa kanila, yung ability nila. Kasi it was played so well for me na halos walang words. They were just, kita lang sa mata nila yung wonder nila at what was happening and then touching each other sa face. Kasi some other director could have taken that overboard na sobrang OA. Uy, may ganito tayo, nagagawa natin to. But they played it very quiet. So for me, I think that...
director yun, Ron?
Nung nung dinemo kong gano'n. Marami. So I like the restraint that they had dun sa particular scene na yun. Pero hindi na na-carry over yung restraint na yun sa ibang, or that finesse in the other scenes.
Yeah.
In fairness, parang hindi naman pala siya not bad. Kasi mahirap talagang siguro they were trying to go for yun nga yung theory on like abuse and all that, or not abuse but basically like the dynamics between man and woman. Kasi minsan parang na siya parang there are so many ways to say it without feeling icky. Ayun. Yun lang na-imagine ko sa sinasabi niyo. So, game.
Ayun. Parang yung big picture naman niya is, parang yung mga body swap films siya. So may sci-fi aspect na nararamdaman ng isa yung nagkapalit sila. Parang gano'n, nararamdaman nila yung body ng bawat isa. Parang yung idea naman is, maganda naman yung idea. Dati may napanood akong body swap film, yung Dating with the Enemy, na parang dumating siya sa point na may commentary na rin siya na nai-in-love na sila doon sa sarili nila kasi wala sila doon sa katawan nila . So parang may ganong color yung film. Pero itong sa Tether, parang nag-stop siya doon sa idea na nagkakapalitan. Pero I agree na ang ganda ng eksena dun sa coffee shop na yun nga, walang dialogue, tinatry. Ako hindi ko rin kasi kung ano yung nangyayari nung time na yun kasi hindi ko binasa yung synopsis. Pero yung babae kasi dito parang pinortray siya as kawawa. Yung boss niya, sinisigawan siya. Yung tatay niya, hindi siya pinapansin. Tapos palpak yung mga relationships niya. Tapos para sa akin yung pick nun, pinapunta pa siya dun sa farm na siya yung nagche-check ng baboy. So parang nilagyan pa talaga ng eksena na may eksena sa baboy si Joribel just to make a point na kung gaano kababa yung tingin doon sa pagkababae. Pero at supposedly yung swap na naramdaman niya yung pakaramdam ng lalaki na isang fuckboy, supposedly yun yung magtataas dun sa babae. Pero sinobrahan naman niya, parang naging bad naman yung depiction ng babae, 'di ba? Parang ina-abuse naman niya yung very essence ng pagkakaswap na yon. So, yeah, so parang nung nakita ko na yon, parang nawala na yung interest ko na supposedly isang magandang premise for a film. And ayun, for me ang pinakagusto ko naman yung mga eksena doon sa Star City. Kahit na-spoil ni Jan, sobrang gusto ko yung reaction ni Boy doon and all. So, yun.
Dagdag ko lang, sorry, dun sa yung premise. Ang ganda nga ng premise. Pero isa pang nakulangan ako sa execution. And this is not my own, like nabasa ko to sa ibang review, pero I completely agree. Na kung ikaw yung merong ganong ability na nararamdaman mo yung nararamdaman ng sexual partner mo, I think they could have shown the sex in a much more adventurous, much more unusual way. Na mapapakita na hindi lang sila the pleasure that they're getting is not just from what their own body is feeling but from what the other body is feeling as well. Parang double the pleasure pero hindi nila napakita yun parang the sex was just ordinary.
Yung peg ko na pag i-remake yan, parang yung sa Blade Runner 2049, yung ni Ana de Armas tsaka ni Ryan Gosling, di ba? Parang nag-hire si Ryan Gosling ng ibang babae tapos para naka-superimpose si Ana de Armas doon sa katawan. Parang ganun no?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So may isang scene, 'di ba, na parang nag-cheat si Mikoy tapos kaya na rin sa mukha ni Joribel. And sobrang ganda sana na eksena na yun kasi nasasaktan siya and at the same time parang pleasurable yung nararamdaman ng kabila. Pero wala parang blank for me yung scene na yun. Parang supposedly parang ito na yung pang best actress mo, ito na yung best na yung ibigay. Kasi paano mo mapapag-mix yung dalawang emotion na yun. So yun, parang ang daming pwede niyang ikaganda. So yun.
I can only imagine kung ano yung lalabas na finished product kung mas binigyan sila ng oras, no? Or from the start talagang finalist sila. Pero yun, sayang.
Parang wala naman ang pupuntahan yung pelikula.
Ganun pa rin naman.
Pupunta kaya sila sa Star City. O baka ibang amusement park ang...
All roads
baka sa
lead to
Enchanted
Star
Kingdom.
City. Enchanted na pala no? Sa Enchanted.
Naglagay ako ng naglagay ako ng comment sa na to Anong award niya? Ay, ano siya no?
Sound, diba?
Sound tsaka actor.
Sound.
Sound tsaka actor.
Sound and actor.
Jun, anong sasabihin mo, Jun?
Sabihin ko lang tama si Manny, pero mas na-double down ko lang kasi I know naman na they never fail to say as filmmakers na nag-start na kami ng March, etc. Pero kasi sometimes it's a clutch for an excuse, especially for this type of theme of a film na ang laking part niya ay gender play and what is the role of being a man and being a woman. Kakagalit na merong hindi naman galit. It's a question on why it is still existing yung ganitong misogyny. Sabihin ko na, misogyny in the theme of Cinemalaya. Especially coming from a place of basta nakakapanghinayang na meron silang concept. It's basically Sense 8 divided by 4. It's just Sense 8 for 2 people. And meron ka ng material na ganun, alam mong nasa same realm lang din siya. This concept, you can take it so much further. Even you can not take it yourself seriously. Pero you took this concept of yours to villainize the woman even though the man in the story is not this perfect person. Tapos siya pa yung mag-meet ng unfortunate ending. Yung babae pa. Ang daming pwedeng i-play eh. Parang every month may pain na nararamdaman ng bawat babae. Bakit hindi siya recognize sa film? But they chose to say na yung babae wala nang nararamdaman. Kasi dinoble down nila na marami na siyang na-experience. So pwede ko siyang gawing villain. I don't see the reason behind it. Hindi, dun ako medyo na parang hindi siya, it doesn't sit well. Especially for something na, yun nga, it's made equal. Ang dami kasi pong pwedeng gawin eh. Especially nga, kanina pinag-usapan natin yung sex regarding that one. Ang dami mong ways paano gawin, i-address yon. Pero, you chose to vanilla yon. Tapos, and you chose a cheating plot to make sure that that is being done. Diba? Parang, ang dami kasing questions na parang bakit kailangan yung babae yung masama dun sa story na yun? Bakit yung lalaki yung nakamit ng peace of mind?
Siya yung naging sympathetic pa sa
diba? Parang gusto mo maging sympathetic doon sa lalaki. Diba? Tapos out of all of the things, alam kong mahal naman natin yung Star City. That the one thing that put the nail on the coffin to put the girl on the edge, it's the guy riding Vikings, the Viking ride in Star City. Diba?
Oo. Ang silly niya.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Sige.
for me, sobrang misogynistic talaga ng film. I mean, if you dun sa plot nung kwento, ang kontrabida yung lalaki talaga eh. Siya yung masama eh. I mean, I think may implication pa nga na it was the girl. It was the girl who likes the cards. It was the girl who likes the cards. The first girl he slept with. That he was an asshole to. Di ba the girl was into mystic arts, into cards. I think that was implied.
Parang ginamit lang siya ng lalaki to sleep with the girl.
What happened to him was like because a curse was placed by that woman. Di ba parang it was that implication. So yun palang kontrabida na yung babae. And then okay lang like I was talking to someone and sabi niya parang hindi naman siya misogynistic for me kasi the woman had the power to do that. Sabi ko, wala namang question dun sa power eh. Pero kasi, even if you check how the audiences reacted to the film, baliw yung babae. Ginawa nilang baliw yung babae. Parang okay lang namang magalit yung babae kasi niloloko siya ng lalaki. Diba? There was a scene na parang, syempre ayoko magutom yung girlfriend ko. Yung boyfriend ko. Di ba parang may ganong eksena? Siyempre, ayoko magutom yung boyfriend ko. And then, that scene was played as if parang baliw yung babae. Parang, kaya sabi ko, I had to tweet about it na parang, Diyos ko, may room pa pala for misogyny ang Cinemalaya. I mean, we've had strong female characters and amazing women directors in the past sa Cinemalaya. And then, magpapasok ka ng something like this. I mean, sayang yung isang slot to be given to someone else sana. And then ang papakita mo pa parang misogynistic na take on relationships. Pero I agree na ang ganda sana ng concept. I mean, I was enjoying it until the sex. Kasi maganda yung sex. I mean, I think that was shown naman dun sa sex scene nila na parang how it would feel if you would feel paano yun sa'yo kung nararamdaman mo yung nararamdaman ng... I'm guessing you'd be better at sex. Diba? Kasi sex mo yung nakakaramdam ng ginagawa mo, diba? So I think okay lang naman yun. Sino may nagsabi na pang Viva Max yung kwento?
Ako yun!
Para pang Viva Max. Alam mo, it would have been better nga sana siguro kung tinodo nila yung Viva Max concept ng film.
Oo
Ayan.
nga. Parang may better way din kasi of like not showing it in the misogynistic side, but yung dynamics na hindi naman kami kasing, I mean, kahit yung baboy, maawan mo sa baboy, bakit tinuturing kang mas mababa sa lupa, ganun. Naawa doon sa baboy. Yung nag-resonate sa akin. But anyways, okay, so, done na tayo sa okay na ha. Magbanlaw na tayo. Doon na tayo sa medyo masayang part.
Ay, wait, ite-text ko na si Ana.
I think hindi na natin itong podcast na to.
Okay na,
Okay na
tapos na
kami.
tayo.
Get me better.
Okay na
Yun
po.
lang naman yung gusto namin sabihin eh.
Bye-bye.
Parang grabe tong sa inyo, list nung sa inyo. Hindi ko naman to sinadya, niroleta ko talaga to. Tapos parang napipil ko na up and down siya.
Parang lahat ng mga maiingay, lahat na nandun sa side ng
Oo, pero
Anyway.
meron din naman dito which leads us to the next film which is As If It's True. So, ang logline niya or kwento niya is about this fading social media influencer and a struggling musician exploit each other in a not so fake relationship. So, wow, parang medyo parang adapted into the times. So, it did get some rave reviews din, primarily from the leads, which is si Khalil Ramos. Alam naman natin, okay naman siya. This film, by the way, is directed by John Rogers. Andito na si Skilty, tsaka si JR. Hi! Okay, guys, pag-startin ko na si JR.
Ako talaga.
Sabak agad eh.
Iniisip ko kasi kung merong ibang romance movies pa nung pinalabas sa batch ng Cinemalaya. Apparently, parang dalawa lang, which is itong Rookie and itong As If It's True. Pero si As If It's True, it's an anti-romance. And nung pag-upo ko nung nag-start na yung movie, ang unang pumasok agad sa utak ko is si Dan Aya. Pero kasi si Dan Aya, hindi siya full na anti-romantic movie. Pero As If It's True, technically 100% talaga siyang anti-romantic movie. Very transactional siya. Parang nung pinanonood ko siya, kasi nung time na yan, nung Sunday ko lang siya pinanood, yung last day ng Cinemalaya. Parang for me, parang siya yung pwedeng representative for star cinema, pero anti-star cinema siya, na pwedeng pumatok sa mainstream audience. Kasi it's very yung relatability niya for the mass audience. Yung pasok na pasok yung konsepto dahil ang social media natin are filled with this type of people. So you would know, you can see them kahit sa parte ng Facebook, ng TikTok, and you know this yung personalities nila, yung pagka-plastic nila, yung pagbenta nila ng sarili nila using clout para may kapalit na monetary. Tapos pasok din yung personalities nila kasi na parang hindi siya implied lang siya na alam mong wala silang patutunguhan sa buhay pero nakakuha sila ng jackpot, which is well placed. Unti-unti to well placed lahat ng scenes, especially ng mga middle part. Nakita mo paano na nare-rent yung babae yung ganong klaseng bahay, yung ganun yumaman siya because of that in a span of 3 years. In a way, dahil sinabi ko nga relatability, in a way parang medyo sapul din sa akin din in a way kasi sabi ko kung mimix mo yung characters nila, may mga taong ganun din, wala rin dream sa buhay pero gusto lang mag-survive, tamad lang, daming tambay. Na-feel ko yung ginawa nila. And it's more of how it was presented kasi nga nakakainis sila. So ganda din yung pagkabuo ng characters from the start pa lang, yung kanilang accidental meeting hanggang hindi ko na pagsihihirit yung last part kasi for me parang it's too obvious na dun papunta. Pero how kung paano ginarap ka agad yung director, kung paano ka uutuin dahil nga ito yung mga characters na ipinasent sa'yo.
Okay, nice. Feeling ko may mga apologists to ng ng film na to dito. So, ano ko muna.
John, ito po si John.
Nagsilabasan kayong lahat eh.
Number one, as if it's true apologist.
Pero before ka magsalita dyan, introduce
lang,
natin
go.
si Skilty dahil bagong pasok siya. Skilty required lahat sumasayaw with shoulders.
Ganun ba?
Joke lang. Okay, so by the way guys, please welcome our founder, our leader, pong make-upan of Pinoy Review si SFFR, Mr. Skilty Labastigan.
Hi everyone. Good evening, good day kung anong oras ka na nakikinig. But yeah, happy to be here. Happy to be back. Ang tagal ko nang nakapag-guest dito sa Third World Cinema Club. And so thanks John and Cess for doing this for Cinemalaya with SFFR.
Sige, hindi ko na sasabihin kung ano yung credentials mo. Okay, alam na nila yun.
Oh yeah, wag na.
Ayun. O sige. So, okay, John, go. Anong thoughts mo sa film?
Ako talaga, no? Nung una ko kasing, nung start kong panoorin tong As If It's True, nung siguro, around until siguro the mid part, parang okay lang siya sa akin. I've seen a lot of contemporary films na local about influencers, mainstream man or indie. Meron nga dyan yung, kunyari, yung, ano ba pelikula yon? Yung si Liza Soberano, parang travel vlogger, ganun. Pero alam mo yun, it's a very common trope sa atin. Pero kasi ako, on my spare time, nanonood ako ng sa YouTube, ng mga drama channels, mga drama-drama ng mga internet celebrity, mga terminally online people, yung mga fake apology, yung mga apology videos na parang meme na rin siya. Parang in this age, ganun na talaga, parang meron ka ng virtual image, kumbaga na sinishare mo sa mundo. As early as yung Perfect Blue ni Satoshi Kon, parang may ganun na no. Pero ito parang it's adapted to this sort of milieu, kumbaga. So yun, parang okay, sige, si Khalil tsaka si Ashley, parang sige, mukhang nagagamitan lang sila, pero para si Khalil may parang feeling siya na meron siyang real feelings sa character ni Ashley. Tapos it went on until dumating tayo sa punto ng ending. Up until then, ayun, katabi ko si Jun dito, kami si Jun sa sinihan. Napapansin namin na parang may something off dun sa sound. Na yung soundtrack is off key and yung visuals ay hindi, parang may something off din sa visuals. So kumbaga, yung interpretation ko, si Rogers, pinaglalaruan niya yung form ng pelikula para sabihin, para i-question natin na, kasi di ba yung kunyari, yung soundtrack ng isang pelikula, they're meant to make us feel emotions. Parang tutulungan tayong parang this is a dramatic moment, i-indicate nila yung true sound. Pero during yung confrontation at saka yung tapos na scene nila Khalil tsaka ni Ashley, nag-glitch yung sound. And I'm sure hindi lang ako yung nag-iisa. Parang gumagano, tapos parang gumagano yung sound. Which means there's something wrong with this confession. Parang pati yung confession, yung outburst ni Khalil, from there pa lang, inisip ko, orchestrated na siya lahat. So yung interpretation ko yung ending ng film, I'm sure many other audience members inisip nila, sige, naghiwalay na sila for reals, ganun. Hindi na sila nagsama. Sa akin, hindi. They're still together. Pero, alam mo yon, yung sa kanilang outwardly, hindi sila. Kaya yung nag-split sila dahil yun yung pinakita nila sa atin. Pero yung sa totoo lang, they're still in a relationship together, which explains yung montage dun sa huli. So, yun lang, yung parang sobrang nagtuwa ako dun sa execution. Feel ko naman alam niya yung gusto niyang gawin dun. At nag-push through siya kahit na yung hindi naman kasi to romance tama nga si JR. This is an anti-romance kumbaga. This is a film about two people na in a fake relationship na who might be in a real relationship na hindi nila pinapakita outwardly. And my interpretation is just mine. You can interpret this any way you want.
Di ba clear naman yun?
Na Hindi, malay natin, di ba? Paano kung hindi talaga sila, naghiwalay talaga sila or...
Hindi, kasi ginamit pang device yung Oscar statuette eh.
Na acting, kumbaga, parang...
The outburst was just an act.
Yeah.
Tapos after that, they were close without the camera. I think that was, I think clear naman siya dun sa na parang they had to have a major or parang a
an
grand
event,
break
kumbaga, oo.
so that they can continue living their life together.
Yeah, nung lumabas ako ng sinihan at the beginning, a lot of people didn't get that.
So,
parang,
do you think
naghiwalay na
that's the
sila,
problem?
ganun sila.
Do you think that's a problem of the film? That it wasn't clear? I mean, kasi
No, probably not. Siguro audience. Audience
Ay,
talaga.
grabe. Ininsulto
Maybe it's the
yung
audience's fault. You dense people. Ganun no? Hindi, pero
Feeling ko kasi may part din na siguro dyan nanonood tayo na may technical glitch talaga outside of the film. Yung,
actually. Nakakaproblema yung speakers
kasi
sa
kaya
Rizal.
may speakers issue yung cinema venue nung araw na yun, nung showing namin na hindi naka-contribute dahil may technical within the movie na akala nila technical issue pa rin siya. So baka yun yung pero
maybe it's partly because of that.
Part of it.
Pero yun.
Check ko kung nagets ni Goldwyn. Sorry, dito ko. Joke. Okay. Feeling ko parang nagigets ko yung sinasabi niyong dalawa. Parang kasi pwedeng, parang kunyari pag sa social media, di ba, minsan akala mo totoo pero hindi pala. Or something. Parang gano'n yung magiging pwedeng interpretation.
Actually, nagka-double take ako dun sa film. Kasi after ko watching the film, parang yan, it was okay. Pero when I was watching, yung secretary ko was watching something sa YouTube and then parang kilig na kilig siya. Tapos napa-double take ako na parang, is this true? I mean, totoo kaya silang they're together, that they're doing the grand, kasi di ba may grand gesture dun yung para dun sa yung parang birthday niya. Tapos when ko, oh my God, totoo ba? I mean, if they show that sa YouTube sa mga vlogs nila, totoo kaya yun? Like, or kasama ba siya sa plano na, kunyari, tayo. So, that made me realize, parang, okay, maybe as if it's true is onto something. Diba? Parang, doon ako napadouble take dun sa as if it's true. Yun lang.
Isang galing naman. Buti may ganong execution. Kasi, ako naman bilang social media manager ng kung sino-sino, mahirap mag-execute na magmukha siyang natural talaga. So, if that was, I think I wanna watch that film kasi minsan mahirap din ako mag-post kasi parang iniisip ko din, baka isipin nila ganito ko or alam mo yun, kasi ako I manufacture that kind of brand or happiness for them. Parang ganon. So, may isa akong client na kunwari, ganito siya pero in real life, I know na hindi siya ganon. Mga ganon. Or parang I have to hide these things from, the audience na they're really not happy, but I have to because it's my job. Parang ganun. So, sometimes...
Ilagay mo sa chat kung sino.
Bakit tayo?
I think pwede mo naman i-DM sa amin.
Pero, tapos at the same time, when I watch yung mga ganyang vlogs ni John, kasi syempre kumukuha rin ako ng ideas like, okay, gawin nga namin yun, ganun. Pag nanonood din ako, parang ako, teka, totoo ba yun? Kasi parang, it's so fabricated. And I think, ilan lang yung mga vloggers na gano'n, na talagang that's true, that what they do. Na parang at the same time, may cause and effect din siya. Team, gano'n. Sila talaga, parang cause and effect. So that's why the blessings for them is really true. But there are some na talagang, they ride on that and then, so
tapos,
that's
diba,
nice. That's really nice.
I think dun sa universe naman ng film, it was established naman na na magaling siyang vlogger. Si Gemma Stone.
Yeah.
I mean, with the internal logic naman nung film, people believe what she posts, 'di ba? Parang gano'n.
More or less.
Nice. Tsaka I can just imagine kasi si Khalil and the girl, they're both actors and they have to be influencers on their own. So, paano kaya yung internal dialogue nila sa sarili nila na they're gonna do something that they're often used to.
Si Khalil talaga yung best actor ko, I think.
Agree ako.
Can I say that? But si Khalil talaga yung best actor ko. That you should have won best actor.
Okay lang. Marami naman na kaming kaaway. Pansin mo, 6 lang listeners namin. Ganun. Joke lang. Okay lang. Sanay na kami. Char. Okay. So, any more thoughts? Skilty. What about you? What's your thoughts on As If It's True?
The film grew on me actually. Same with John. Actually, I hated the first third. Like, parang ready na ako to give up on the film kasi hindi believable yung meet cute nila na parang yun yung problema ko minsan sa love stories ng Pilipinas na parang pinipilit yung audience na paniwalain na meron agad spark yung dalawang hindi magkakakilala, yung strangers. So, off sa akin yun na parang, sobrang presko nila sa isa't isa. So, halatang parang kulang, parang failure on the direction. Kasi parang walang tension. Kumbaga, comfortable na agad sila sa isa't isa. Di ba? Umpisa pa lang. So, yun, na-off ako doon. And then the story got interesting. More and more interesting as it went along. So naging na-hook na agad ako nung na-realize ko na yun nga may gustong sabihin itong pelikulang ito. I feel like it's an acting piece more than anything else kasi kung wala yung dalawang actors, kung hindi ganun sila kagaling. Obviously si Khalil mas magaling for me dun kay Ashley, but Ashley had her moments na wow, parang may promise tong babaeng to. Lalo na dun sa mga yung mga heated scenes, obviously the dinner scene matagal siyang ang daming lines, no. Pero na-sustain nila yung energy, yung tension. Yeah, I was surprised that I liked it eventually nung natapos yung pelikula. Kasi I was ready to dismiss it first third pa lang. Yeah, for sure may as an anthropologist interesting for me yung mundo ng influencers. I personally don't watch yung mga vlogs and those things, but
ang snap naman.
No. Kasi alam ko, 'di ba, it's for the money and capitalism, etc., consumerism.
Mm-mm.
But sobrang interesting ng mundong 'yon. So at nakita nga sabi na JR na it's really a transactional relationship, no? Na parang nandun sila sa isa't isa because they need each other. Siguro nakulangan lang ako sa part, parang hindi masyadong convincing for me yung part ni Khalil, why he wants to stay. Kasi for me, Ashley needs Khalil more than he needs her. May hints naman na parang he benefits from it, pero parang I don't know, medyo nakulangan lang ako sa background story niya siguro kung bakit ako maniniwala na
hindi enough sa na he's into this very comfortable life that Ashley is leading, na parang with a condo, a bed, something like na-establish ba na mayaman si Khalil dun sa film?
No naman, no. I'm sure he, something like him could see himself in that kind of relationship. At naging problematic nga siya nung pelikula, di ba? Na bakit ako mananatili sa ganitong klaseng relasyon na kumbaga ikaw yung nasa taas at ako nandito. But yun, I don't know, may nakulangan lang ako sa konting convince pa for me.
Sa motivation ni Khalil, no, for staying. Yeah. Parang hindi enough yung music thing niya.
Yeah, kasi 'di ba? Lalo na kung balikan mo yung umpisa, he feels very confident, 'di ba? As a man. Tapos sobrang emasculating kasi yung ginagawa niya, 'di ba? Na he stays as a pseudo boyfriend because he needs the money. Sobrang layo ng I don't know.
Yeah, and hindi ba parang feeling ko lang nakahanap siya ng comfort within that instant relationship? Kasi parang interpretation ko ay there's this opportunity for him to find someone else to share because of his background. Kasi ang daming parang parang sobrang loner niya as a person, even though may support din siya ng parent, ng mother niya, pero meron kasing existential crisis na nangyayari sa kanya. Thus, the mental health thing that was leveraged within that film. Na parang nandun din yung comfort niya na nahanap niya dun sa this person that he met randomly in the party. So parang hindi ko alam kung yun yung lang yung motivation niya. Kasi amidst all dun sa dun sa sinabi, nagrereklamo pa rin siya, bakit ganito yung lifestyle ni ganito? Bakit ganito? Nibayaran niya itong ganito? Di ba nagre-rant pa rin siya dun sa film eh. May kinakapitan lang siya kasi may taong nakahanap na important, nahanap siya, importante siya for that particular. Ewan ko, baka lang I was or masyado lang obvious or baka hindi na talaga siya in-address, pero ewan ko, baka lang may existential crisis yung yung character niya.
I guess nag-share sila ng secrets together. I guess parte yun.
Pero hindi nila basta isang secret, di ba? Which is great actually. Wala nang share.
Yeah. Pinag-usapan namin actually to kahapon sa bonus round ni Den, kasi pinanood ni Den yung film. Na tipong, yun nga, nagustuhan niya yung choice na hindi sabihin kung anong sikreto ni Ashley. Kasi parang hindi naman dapat nating malaman, kumbaga.
Yeah. So we assume na it's something parang life-changing or something really heavy.
Ayun, Manny, may gusto ka sabihin?
Yung sinabi lang nila sa talkback na parang yung original plan is parang may monologue si Ashley. So sa perspective niya yung buong film. Pero tinanggal yata yun eh. Tapos pinakita lang ng konti sa dulo yung naka-green siya. Pero even that parang pinutol na rin nila.
I see.
So ayun. Baka doon supposedly ma-address yung secret na hindi na reveal. Pero nag-decide na hindi na isama.
Right, so thank you so much for your thoughts.
Dahil sa usapan na ito, parang tumataas yung value nung as if it's true.
Unti-unti.
Aminin nyo.
Yeah,
Pero may isa pa akong favorite scene sa As If It's True. Alam mo yung eksena na magkausap yung lalaki, I forgot his name. Basta yung dati niyang fake boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
Tapos parang magkausap sila na parang, yung sa inyo ba, totoo ba yan? Alam mo yung ganung conversation na parang, when they're talking to each other, they kind of know the language na parang, which one, like, totoo, I mean, even they are not sure whether yung mga fellow influencers nila ay totoo yung ginagawa.
Yes.
So, sobrang ganda nung, na parang, sa inyo ba, totoo ba yun? Tapos ang sagot lang niya is parang, mahal ko si person. Parang,
hindi pa rin yun. That doesn't answer the question.
Nandun pa din yung paano ba yun? Yung ambiguity ng mundo na ginagalawan nila. Even dun sa heart-to-heart conversations na nangyayari, hindi ka pa rin sure kung totoo pa ba yung nakikita mo. Okay, I'm changing mo yan as if it's true to. Charot.
Si Ron, ano yung gusto mong sabihin?
No, I was just going to say, medyo ambivalent ako dun sa, I mean, hindi ako warm toward the movie. In fact, you may remember dun sa chat natin, I said meh. Yun yung reaction ko. I really can't point out what about it I didn't like. Medyo messy siya for me. Pero definitely the acting was good.
Can I parang piggyback on what you're feeling, Ron, regarding the film?
Sige, June.
Feeling ko kasi yun yung intention. It's either, the reviews that I read for the film, it's either people jumping in saying na ayoko ng film kasi nakakairita. The topic of social media and this fake thing doesn't necessarily sit well with other people.
That's true.
Especially especially kung pag ngayon nasa setting siya na lalo pa na may relationship na involved. So going to the film, hindi mo na alam kung komportable ka ba talaga na gusto mong i-push through yung film kasi hindi mo alam kung totoo ba yung pinagagawa nila. Kasi all throughout na parang may nag-initiate sila na isang gagawin ay hindi para sa likes to. this is for clout, etc., etc. So, lahat yun, hindi siya komportable panoorin. So, may part talaga sa'yo na it's either you like the film or you get its intention or just see it as something na nag-amplify na ito ganito dapat yung ginagawa ng mga influencers, etc., etc. So, yun.
Si Jun talaga ang as if it's true apologist.
Ay, hindi ako.
Hindi siya apologist.
As if it's true pa rin maulol.
Sorry, pero
apologist na si Jun.
I don't think it's that, June. I don't think it's that, honestly. Because I got what they were trying to say. And I came into the movie naman knowing what I was getting into. Alam ko na magiging about social media influencers and alam kong maiinis ako. Pero I don't know, it's just something about the execution. Although I was going to say na after hearing everything that you were saying, especially dun sa sound, kasi nairita ako dun sa sound sa totoo lang. At the same time, I was thinking, ay palagay ko style to ng movie, sadya to. Pero I can't help but be annoyed with it. Pero ngayong pinag-uusapan natin, papaisip na ako na maybe this is a movie that I could revisit and watch again. And maybe I'll like it better. Maybe.
Okay, grabe. Nag-away-away na kayo ngayon, ha?
Ano ba talaga?
From John, from Nico to
Uy,
John.
wala. Okay lang.
Okay na ba yun? Away na yun?
Away ba yun?
Di ba, di ba?
Are valid.
Di pa away
Pakabait
na.
na namin.
Okay na po. Tanungin natin si Charing.
Umatad ka kasi ng deliberation pag awards para
Wala away.
totoong away.
Ay, oo nga. Oo nga pala. O, di ba? Na-booking.
So maybe we should
Okay.
discuss Golden Bells.
Hater.
Don't worry,
Move on.
may golden deer dito. Sorry, may deer dito. Chos. Okay, so...
Correction.
Alright.
Fama Twitter, Golden Bells.
Oh my God. So, kaya pala kayo nagpapunta ng Friday kasi
Congrats daw sa Golden Bell, sabi ng Baconawa. Charot.
Oh my God. Diyos ko.
Hindi ko kay Hana po yung nagsabi.
Opo.
Hindi po kami
2023
kasama sa
lang.
opinion ni
Hindi yun opinion. Nag-congratulate talaga sila. It was a statement of fact.
Okay. Okay. Okay
sila
na.
sa sa
Ano na
Fama
tayo? Ay, ganun.
Ako yung apologist ng Golden Bells.
Ay, pala updated ka na ano. Okay,
Sorry.
game. So, alright. So, ito parang ano din. Medyo, may mga comments about this dun sa Wednesday group, itong next na film. So, later on, by the way, may bonus round. Pwede nyo pag-usapan kung swak ba yung venue, masarap ba yung donut, ano ba yung flavor na swak sa panonood, and anong brand ng chair, Uratex or what? Ang mas masayang upuan than the
Sponsored post ba to?
Ay, hindi pala, sorry.
Episode ba
Sponsored
to?
nga ng Golden Bells.
Sige, para may sponsorship. Mandawi Foam, ganyan.
Ng
Joke.
Golden Bells Trading.
Oo. Ayan. So, next nating film is called Huling Palabas. So, ang logline niya is, in search for his long-lost father, a young boy's reality becomes mystified when two movie-like characters appear in his hometown. Okay. So, who would like to start and talk about Huling Palabas? O, sige, mamili ako. Si Nico naman. Ayan, Nico, ikaw mag-start.
Bakit ako?
At kasi, minsan third,
I love it.
last.
I
Okay.
love it. Okay, next.
Wow.
No, I mean, I was talking about this with the Manny kasi pareho kaming into theater, and sobrang impressive na Ryan Machado, who was a playwright, was able to execute something na like this. So parang he understands grammar ng film, na he was able to do that. Impressive sa akin about Huling Palabas. I mean, it had budgetary issues din as well. So parang natapos sila by Cinemalaya. So I mean, sobrang impressive nun sa akin. And second is that something very relatable, na lumaki sa probinsya, yung exposure mo sa films ay dependent on the people who bring in the films there. So, kumbaga yung taste mo sa pelikula would be dependent on the people na kung may magandang taste sila sa pelikula. Kasi sila yung magdadala from the outside, from Metro Manila, for example. Sila yung magdadala ng film doon sa bayan mo. So, doon ako parang relatable sa akin. And then using film as a way to escape your present life, or yung film yung parang nagiging paraan mo on how to imagine what other life is out there, what kind of life is out there. So yun yung gustong-gusto ko about Huling Palabas.
Siguro to add on na lang doon sa sinabi ni Nico. It being a coming of age film through the perspective ng queer person sa probinsya na hindi ka exposed to like social media or anything else that could influence how you treat yourself coming out was yung parang biggest respect na pwede kong ibigay dun sa narrative ng film. Kasi marami kasi nagsasabi na there are a lot of loose strings dun sa storya na parang medyo, hindi man patong-patong, pero parang there are a lot of layers na tinatry nilang i-address ng sabay-sabay. Pero at the same time, hindi naman kasi siya, I think it didn't take out, parang sabihin, hindi siya naka-detract sa akin from the film because at the end of the day, yung storya naman ni protagonist on his realization yung mas importante. Ang ganda kasi may respeto dun sa setting, hindi nila masyadong denive in yung relationship. Nag-i-exist lang yung relationship nila mag-best friend, pero hindi nila sinabi na parang one guy actually na mas gusto niya to romantically, etc. etc. It's just narrating their relationship. Gusto ko yung pagkakagamit kay Serena as a way, means of realization. Sobrang ganda ng nuance na ang galing niya talaga. Siya yung best supporting actress ko. Ayun na yung nag-declare. Ako yung nag-declare. Pero, ayun, it's, I get that. Gusto ko rin na walang kinalaman yung Huling Palabas. Yung title itself, pag alam mo lang yung title itself, medyo magtataka ka going into the film. Tas may pagka-cheeky din siya na parang ito yung ibig sabihin ng Huling Palabas, ganto. Though yun nga, lumabas namin may mga budget issues, pero at the same time, medyo hindi siya nag-matter kasi one of a kind. It's not something that you can actually easily replicate or something na it's referred to.
Testament din yun, Testament din dun sa budgetary issues nila na they were able to come up with something amazing. Like, alam mo yung eksena na with the thing? Ano ba tawag mo doon? Yung TV?
Oh, yung TV.
Kasi diba, you don't need a lot of budget to tell a good story. And you don't need a lot of budget to tell magandang magandang pagkakwento mo, diba? So, I mean, nag-match lang din ang fact na nagkulang sila ng budget and they were able to come up with a great film dun sa pelikula na parang wala silang resources to tell a story but he was able to, to tell that to the best friend.
Naiyak ako dun sa part na yun na yung pinakita niya yung mga...
Ako din.
Hindi din yung poster ni Ate V for Anak.
Yes, I think
yun yung talaga ba?
I think yun talaga yung nagdala. Pero yun I think I was, di ba parang sino ba yung kausap natin dito, Manny? I think it was si Nicole. Si Nicole ba yun?
Yung Daddy
kasi
Ko, baby.
Yung paggamit ng dalawang posters, the Daddy Yo something because of the father issues and then Anak because of the OFW mother. So alam mo yung kahit yung ganung detalye na ang ganda ng pagkakagamit. Anyway, sorry Manny. I'm stepping on you, sorry.
Hindi, okay lang. Pero yun, relatable talaga siya. Experience ko yun yung nanonood sa kapitbahay na papalabas ng VHS. Tapos yung mga kalaro mo nanonood din ng film with them. So gets ko yung shot na may tsinelas na magkakapatong-patong tapos sa loob ng bahay, puno, mahirap yung upuan, yung iba nakatayo. Gets ko yung the whole thing. Pero inisip yung film tungkol sa pagiging matibay nung main character. Kasi parati siyang nawawalan, di ba? Wala siyang tatay. Mawawalan din siya ng kaibigan. So ang gusto ko, ang in-expect ko sa kanya, maging strong siya dun sa the whole thing. Kasi yun nga, mawala siya ng kaibigan. Even yung mga films na unti-unti nawawala, from sinihan to VHS to nawawala rin yung mga yun eh. So pinakita naman sa dulo na parang naging strong siya, di ba? I mean, yung presence ng mga tao na yun, tinulungan siya para even yung family, yung tita niya na, di ba, yung pinalis si si Jay Gonzaga. Ayun, relatable sa akin, gets ko yung mga yan. Though may mga issues ako dun sa production design kasi parang sa amin, maagang nawala yung ganong culture na yung nagpapalabas ng VHS. Kasi sa amin, dahil sa cable TV. Kasi nagpapalabas sila illegally, nagpapalabas sila ng film. So yun actually yung pumatay sa mga sinehan sa town namin. And even yung sa VHS. So yung mga tao, sa bahay na lang talaga nanonood. So minsan inisip ko, umabot ba ako dun sa anak era or dun sa daddy o baby o era? Parang sa amin kasi sobrang maagang nawala yung ganong culture. Pero baka depende siya talaga sa per province. I mean, baka doon talaga sa Romblon, yung gano'n talaga yung nangyari. So nung una na nabe-break ako, like halimbawa, nag-mention sila ng Joyce Jimenez, tapos parang later on, nagtataka sila tungkol doon sa title na Scorpionites. Pero di ba, Joyce Jimenez is Scorpionites too, di ba? So dapat, yung mga ganong details, so minsan nasisira lang ako. For me, sulit naman yung dulo niya, sulit yung finished product. Sabi nga ni Nico, yung parang wow, playwright, tapos tumalon ka sa pagiging filmmaker, tapos sobrang visual ng film. Kasi pag binasa niyo rin yung ibang play niya, usually may dalawang characters, one act na nag-uusap the whole time, though very, very witty naman yung conversation nila. Tapos ito, even that, yung material, sobrang iba rin sa mga ginagawa niya na play. Though hindi ko naman nabasa lahat ng plays, pero at least yung tatlong napanood ko during sa fundraiser. Ganun siya, ganun yung common na dalawang characters lang na nag-uusap. Sabi ko, baka nung in-expect ko nung una, baka hindi ganun yung film. Tapos ito, binigyan tayo ng sobrang visual na film. Sometimes hindi nagsasalita yung mga characters, kundi nag-iisip sila parang on their lonesome. Tapos may mga parang dream sequence din na hindi ko talaga na-imagine na nagagawin ni Direk. Tapos kung sa inyo si Khalil yung best actor ko, ang best actor ko naman si Sean Mark.
Wait, hindi ba Manny dun sa question mo regarding Scorpionites? Hindi ba kasi parang they were talking about paulit-ulit naman yung pelikulang pinapalabas kay Alin ganyan? Or konti lang naman yung palabas na gano'n. Baka kasi limited din yung pumapasok na pelikula sa kanila.
So ibig sabihin yung unang Joyce Jimenez Scorpionites to. Pero okay lang, sige, pwede naman.
Nung pinanonood ko kasi siya, tinitingnan ko yung time, yung kailan siya ginawa. Tapos, yung anak, sinearch ko talaga yung pagtapos ng movie. Sabi ko, year 2000. Sabi ko, ano to, parang sinabay-sabay ba nila yung turn of the century? Tapos, parang may mga changes lahat. Like, there was a scene, of course, yung rentahan ng VHS. And then, parang sapul-sabul yung biglang naglabas na ng optical na
Media.
na VCDs. Parang sinabay nila yung changes na nangyayari dun sa community na yun, kung saan man yung mga nangyayari. And then sinabay pa nila yung turn of the century, plus kung ano yung mga nitty-gritty ng mga details na yun. Pero alam ko parang hindi siya minsan nagtutugma, pero parang sinabay-sabay nilang ganun to tell that everything is changing in this community. Including of course yung nagsari yung mga store, and even yung tama ba finale yung nasunog. So, sorry, spoiler yun. So parang it's about moving on. So yun, singit ko lang.
Actually yung parang piggybacking doon sa sinabi ni JR. Ang peg ko kasi dito sa pelikulang to, which is I really liked it, is yung parang the end of ages, 'di ba? Yung transitionary period of all kinds of things. Yung VHS naging VCD sa huli. Yung main character, yung closeted self niya to yung more
Innocence.
open. 'Di ba? Innocence lost din. Yun no? And yung people moving on to other things, graduation, literal graduation, a transition from one state to another. Kaya yun parang dun pumapasok. At kaya siguro din may parang anachronisms ng konti kasi parang nandun ka sa pinaka period kung saan hindi na siya nagagamit until magagamit na yung bagong medium. Lalo na siguro sa probinsya na hindi laganap pa yung VCD. So marami pang VHS dyan. Pero agree nga ako kay Manny na namatay nga yung mga VHS, yung mga illegal theaters na yun dahil sa sa cable eh. Kasi mid-90s lumabas yan, 95, 96 na yan. Diba? Tapos syempre manunod ka na lang sa bahay. Unless siguro walang bahay yung mga tao. Ay, walang bahay. Walang TV yung mga taong nanonood. Walang bahay. Sinunog, charet. And
sa probinsya kasi namin kahit may cable kasi yung cable namin limited lang sa bayan. So yung mga linang wala pa rin talaga. Pupunta pa rin talaga sa bayan para
makinood.
Magrenta ng VHS tsaka ng VCD.
Oo.
Alam ba nila yung linang, Nico?
Linang is the, ano ba? Describe mo linang?
Barrio. Far-flung barrio.
Outskirts. Yan.
So,
outskirts ng bayan.
Barangays outside town proper.
So, it all ties din dun sa theme na yun. Tapos yung pagsunog mismo ng bahay, parang pagpapaalam din yun in a way sa dating buhay at kasi mag-move on na rin yung dalawang characters na na-meet ng ating protagonist. Yun. And also yung parang myth to hindi na myth. Yung kasi di ba this is a film about the LGBTQ community. Parang yung perception nila dati is parang nire-relegate sila to like folklore. Yun nga, anak sila ng Sigbin na ganun. And to the point na well, hindi pa sobrang accepted dun sa huli, pero may level siguro of parang wala na akong this is who I am.
May nag-comment pala tungkol dun sa bundok na CGI. May comment ba kayo doon?
Napansin ko siya.
Ano ba siya? Nag-stick out ba siya? Or...
Ako personally hindi naman. Hindi naman.
I don't even remember.
I'm confused.
I don't even remember.
Hindi ko rin naalala.
Hindi ba yung nakasakay sila sa bisikleta? Or sa
bike. Tapos may
okay. Sige, naalala ko na. Yun yung sabi na doon nakatira yung yung tatay niya. Tama? Okay.
CGI yun?
CGI.
Yes.
Doon kasi ako nakatingin doon sa CGI. Ano to? Hindi doon sa nakabike, pero...
Nakatingin kasi ako sa subtitles.
Yung napanood niyo ba, nasa baba o nasa taas? Yung subtitle?
Baba. Kasi unang screening kami nila John eh.
Ako nasa tabi. Japanese subtitles yung sa akin eh.
Sa right.
Color-coded.
Yung sabi kasi nila, yung
after hours na lang yun.
Kompletong product, kompletong film after nung screening, after nung gala. So kung napanood nyo before, ibinago pa nila yung, kasi itinaas yata nila nilagay sa taas yung subtitles.
Ang tanong ko lang naman bakit, sinagot ba nila kung bakit palagi nakahubad si Cedric Juan sa movie?
Mainit!
Kasi mainit.
Ako kung ganun din naman katawan ko, lagi din ako nakahubad.
Yung paa.
Yun, actually, tatanong ko din. Bakit may fixation sa shots on feet?
Hindi masyadong malinaw, no? Yung part na yan.
Pero mas concerned ko bakit walang frontal. From anyone. Kahit sino na doon. Uy, wag na si Skilty, nakakaya kay Skilty.
Nag-iisip ka si Skilty kung bakit din joke lang. Pero sabi nga rin kahapon ni, I think it was Roy, sabi niya parang yung sa fetishism siguro yun, yung sa feet. Or not so much, baka parang rural life, kasi pag sa probinsya pwede ka magpaa.
May
I don't know.
Baka may folklore reference yung paa tsaka sigbin.
Pwede nga. Kasi may part din na parang pinakita yung side nung bida, di ba? Na parang may balat ba siya. Mali yung napanood ko. Parang may balat sa
parang balat na may balahibo. Madilim kasi
diba?
sa sinihan kung saan ko napanood, so hindi ko sure.
May ganun nga. So baka
Baka pwedeng ganun. Kasi di ba pag sa probinsya, uso rin naman yung walang t-shirt. Pero uso rin naman walang t-shirt sa Manila. I don't know.
Uso naman walang t-shirt sa Twitter. So,
Alter account.
Kanya-kanyang ano lang
Alter.
talaga, no? Kalat, gano'n.
Ito nagtingin ako sa,
Anyways,
nag-search ako sa Google, yung mga
Mm.
sigbin daw, in some depictions, baliktad daw yung paa nila.
Oh.
Kaya,
okay.
kaya may shot na ganun. Okay.
Yung mga paa. Maybe
Ah,
ako
ayun
next
nga.
time.
May sigbin pala dyan sa movie. Kasi ang
May mga
sigbin, di ba,
myths,
is may myth siya. Kasi parang panakot din sa bata ang sigbin eh. Pag sa Bisaya, parang habulin ka ng, sige ka, labas ka ng labas sa gabi, habulin ka ng sigbin, parang ganun.
ano ba yung sigbin? Di ba yun yung, ano yung sigbin? Anong
Ano
ginagawa
siya?
niya?
Para siyang
Wolf
aso.
siya.
O, para
Para
siyang
siyang
aso.
wolf. Oo. Tapos
Okay.
ang rumor sa probinsya namin dati, pati sa Dumaguete, kaila sa jowa ko, ano siya, parang
Masingit
Ang
lang na may jowa.
ay sorry. Siyempre.
Self-promotion.
Parang
Third
ang
world romance pala.
ano siya, parang pwede rin siyang status symbol ng mga mayayaman sa probinsya kasi it brings wealth or luck daw.
Okay.
Pagka nakanakaw ka ng sigbin, gano'n.
Sige. At least
Okay.
na-explain yung
Guilty, wala pa sinasabi.
No, wala na yata akong... Well, I love the film as well. So yun, hindi ko kilala si Ryan Machado. I haven't seen any of his plays. Pero even if parang you don't even assess the film as a success just because it's a first film. Parang it works as a film period for me. I don't know. Binabasa ko yung
SFFR winner for best first feature. Charot!
Yeah, binabasa ko yung mga reviews so far. I think yung common sentiment is it doesn't have a structure, tapos parang moments lang na nangyari sa protagonist. But I don't think that's a weakness of the film kasi I don't know, ramdam ko yung puso ng filmmaker, parang may gusto siyang ikwento tungkol sa Romblon. At parang it's a perfect regional film. Kasi I'm not sure kung ito ba yung first film that features the Onhan language, which if it is, it's a big win, no, for Philippine cinema. Dapat meron tayong isang pelikula that features all our 170 plus languages. Dapat ganun yung goal
Very
natin.
anthropologist ka dyan, skills.
Yeah.
Nga eh. Parang
Wait.
biglang, meron siyang contribution sa na.
Di ba from Romblon ka?
Ako?
Oo.
No, I grew up in Agusan, Mindanao.
Okay.
Yeah. So yun, syempre the ensemble acting is good. Hindi halata na baguhan yung director kasi parang kontrolado yung pagka-direct niya ng bagay-bagay. So yeah, I really like this film.
Alright, so thank you so much guys that was a really colorful habang pinapahinggan ko kayo, madami kayong na-share na insights dun. And
Taray mo colorful.
kasi iba yung iba yung take nyo dun sa take na narinig ko last time kasi sinama nila siya sa bonus round. So ikaw na nakikinig, kung gusto mo malaman yung bonus round, kailangan pahinga mo yung episode part 1 and part 2.
Very, very colorful, parang Unitech.
Yes.
Our sponsor for tonight.
Mga unwilling sponsors kanina. Charing. Anyways, so next naman natin, last but not the least, yan, ang representative ng lahat ng Golden for this year, Bulawan nga usa. Ayan.
Bulawan nga reviews.
Ayan. So, iba-iba yung narinig ko about Bulawan nga usa, but I'm interested to know what you guys have thought about this film. So, by the way, it's a film directed by
Kenneth De La Cruz.
Ayan, Kenneth De La Cruz. So it's about this man he went on a soul-searching or soul-steering expedition on a mystical mountain to look for the golden deer and find solace in an unlikely friendship with a spirited mountain boy. So parang may pagka-folklore, folkish ba to or what? So, okay, who'd like to start? Oh, sige. Maiba
pwede ako
naman.
mag-start para...
Sige, June,
Si
go.
June, ayan.
First film natin to dyan, di ba? Tama ba ako?
Yes,
Ito yung
first
una
film
pinanood
natin yung Bulawan na.
Ito yung una na pinanood. So, alam ko pinag-uusapan natin itong mga reviews and stuff. I'm just going to say it outright that kung ano man yung nilabas ng person na yon this film doesn't deserve that rating that person has said. Kahit kaparehong kulay pa man din
Ano
niya.
yun, sorry? Can you spell it out? Hindi ko alam eh.
Sino nag-review? Bulawan nga reviews.
Bulawan nga reviews nga daw.
Ano ba yung ano niya? Ano ba yung rating niya? Sorry, hindi ko alam.
0.
0.
Parang ako.
Hindi naman to 0 eh.
hindi kasi talaga. Kasi I think nabanggit is guilty kanina, na ramdam mo yung puso ng filmmaker at the same, even though na hindi siya, may technical issue siya, especially sa bandang dulo. Meron ding kahit pa paano inconsistencies. Pero kasi, at the end of the film, pinag-uusapan namin nila dyan kung ano yung naramdaman namin with the film. Kasi it really uplifts you kahit pa paano. Hindi siya, yung story about this, yung pinanghawakan, yung pag-address ng grief ng guy, ay nung main character natin, and yung pinanghawakan niya ng story ng lolo niya to make sure kaya siya umakyat ng bundok kasi pinanghawakan niya yung mythical folklore story ng lolo niya, na hinahanap niya yung sagot dun sa sarili niyang crisis kung paano nung nawala yung lolo niya. So in-address yun eh. So though it still meets yung quality nung taon na to in terms of Cinemalaya, it doesn't deserve that flack kasi nga napag-usapan namin yung ending eh, kasi yung ending kasi very very self-discovery nga siya. Sabi mo nga, sabi ko nga, I am Bulawan nga usa.
We are Bulawan nga usa.
We are Bulawan nga usa. Mga ganun yung feeling. Tapos pinag-usapan pa namin yung way ng manner ng pagkakagawa nitong character na to. Na-stuck siya sa trabaho niya. He's an accountant by day. Nag-quit siya ng trabaho niya. Pero pwede siya maging teacher. Pwede siyang maging sobrang yung pagkakagawa ng character niya medyo nuanced na hindi ko alam kung paano mag-end up yung story niya. So us questioning kung saan pupunta yung story, medyo nandun din siya na parang it adds on to that experience. Though sana na pinanindigan na lang nila yung part na may 2D animation siya. Sana hindi na lang yung ginawa yung Dust film na lang, yung last part na alam ko tinry nilang mag-CGI ng Golden Deer.
CGI ba yun?
Mukhang totoo.
Joke
Ito pala yung ano yun.
Again, nakatingin ako sa subtitles.
As if it's true pala ito.
Ito pala yung as if it's true.
Pero ayun nga, parang feeling ko dapat yung feel na lang ng 2D animation na they tried in one part of the film. Yun na lang sana yung pinanindigan nila up until the end. Pero to say the film is really bad is given a disgrace for the film. Yun lang naman yung.
Nanonood ka sa sponsor ng dinner mo. Nakikita namin.
Ay, McDo, ang sarap. Nagugutom
Ang
na ako.
sarap siguro niya, no? Lalo na yung bestsellers din. Saring.
Lalo na ang mga bestsellers natin.
Game dyan. Ano naman sa'yo sa Bulawan?
Ayan, kasama ko si June manood niyan. First Cinemalaya film. Yung parang, syempre una kong naisip nung nakita ko yung premise is yung mga very quintessentially Cinemalaya type films na people na may self-discovery, tapos may landmark silang inaakyat, usually a mountain. Mga non-Cinemalaya films kagaya nung kay R.B. Barbarona, yung The Highest Peak, or yung Above the Clouds ni Pepe Diok, no? Although mas gusto ko tong Bulawan kaysa doon sa kay R.B. na film. Okay naman, yun nga, although there are some technical difficulties, some technical things na hindi ko masyadong type. Nagustuhan ko naman siya na okay naman siyang pelikula. Nagustuhan kong part yung nandun yung guy sa mountain community. Tapos nagse-celebrate yung community kasi may naipadala silang tao sa baba na bilang teacher, mag-aaral bilang teacher. Tapos yung mga small things na yun, sineselebrate nila. Dun, mga ganon, yung mga little parang portraits of mountain life. And also yung relationship talaga para sa akin, parang passing the torch to him galing sa kanyang lolo. Kasi yung lolo niya is an inspirational figure. So parang pinaposition siya as an inspirational figure for other people. Maybe the people dun sa bundok, maybe dun sa batang na befriend niya, maybe to other people, hindi pa natin alam. Pero yung technical stuff lang talaga, yung sound, may isang scene doon na yung conversations sound very canned, parang nakataklob yung microphone or something. There's another one na nagse-celebrate sila around the bonfire. Tapos yung sunod na edit, yung shot ng nanay niya na nag-iisa with the sound na parang canned sa labas. Daw akala mo nagpo-perform sila, yung bonfire ay nasa labas lang ng bahay. Kahit na, alam mo yun, nasa bundok sila. Maybe that's intentional to show na parang malapit pa rin sa puso niya yung nanay niya. Maybe something like that. Pero, yun, technical stuff lang.
Wala lang, parang yung premise niya nga is very Cinemalaya, no, na parang far and beyond.
Sabi ko nga, quintessentially.
We're gonna get a goal. Oo, may
correct.
goal tayo na ano. Ang pangarap ko, maaabot ko gamit ng goal na yan, gano'n, no?
Pati yung CGI niya, very Cinemalaya.
Oo, no, na parang, ito lang kasi kinaya ng goals ko. Sorry, na-joke lang. Na-joke lang. Okay. So, alright. Wala na kayo ibang, mensahe para sa Bulawan.
Ako naiyak ako dun sa film. Not gonna lie. Mahirap lang siyang i-follow kasi I guess, parang nag-gets mo na yung point niya. So, it became repetitive. Yung the whole through dun sa bundok. So it became repetitive. And then, pero somehow pagdating dun sa dulo, rewarding naman eh. So yun. Kasi I've never had a lolo. Kumaga, both of my lolas died before I was even born. So yung gano'n na parang, so yeah, that affected me.
Siguro parang minamarket din yung film as parang medyo pambata kasi yung may animation, medyo appealing for the younger crowd. The way na, for example, yung Pande sa Lawal is parang for kids din, di ba? So parang ito siguro the way na pinipitch to ng Cinemalaya is parang gano'n na it could cater to a younger crowd. I agree na medyo disservice yung sobrang babang rating niya. Kasi for me, complete naman yung film. Malinis actually. I mean, yun nga lang, hindi lang siya technically polished like yung mga comments. At some point medyo nagigets ko naman yung animation. I mean, hindi naman niya tinry na maging sobrang, alam mo yun, sobrang magandang animation. Yung scoping ng animation parang clear naman sa kanya na ito hanggang dito lang tayo. Ito lang yung gagawin natin all throughout. And yeah, for me okay lang siya. Okay lang yung film.
Okay, may tatanong pala ako sa inyo kasi ito matagal ko na itong tanong as a first, parang nakiki-empathize naman din ako kapag manonood ng Cinemalaya films na baka kasi time constraint, budget constraint, ganyan. Pero kasi yun yung siguro pang bonus na lang to, no? na tanong. Pero ayun, so I think mayroon pa ba kayong gustong sabihin about Bulawan ng Usa or
May sabihin ko lang kung bili yung tent na yun kasi 3 araw na iniwanan niya sa bundok. Pagbalik niya na doon pa rin lahat ng gamit.
Hindi tinangay no?
Kung saan man yung suggestion na yun, pakisabi sa amin kasi matibay yung tent niya.
Magaling yung child actor ha.
Actually.
Yes.
Magaling yung child actor.
Ano yung sa'yo, JR? Ano sabihin?
Sa Bulawan. Well, same sentiment din naman sa lahat, especially dun sa unfair rating sa kanya. Hindi kasi siya Viva Max movie eh. Alam natin lahat yan eh. So, it's very unfair to... Alam mo yun, yung intent mo, my intent for this film is for everyone to see, including kids. And I'm not getting paid to create 5 sex scenes in this movie. So, alam mo yun, it's quite unfair na that was... Nabugbog siya. Pero naiintindihan ko din in a sense kung bakit napunta sa ganun kasi hindi talaga siya meant for the I don't know, mass audience. Siguro parang it's for a certain select siguro. Yun lang naman.
Ayaw mo bang sabing least common denominator? Charot.
Just to add on, I think, hindi ko sure sa ratings pero I think ito lang ba ang PG? I mean, meant for like the general public. Kasi maraming R13 this year. That's for sure. Maraming
Halos lahat no?
halos lahat R13 eh.
Oo.
So parang kung for kids directly lang, ito talaga yung parang yung field dedicated for that current pool na meron tayo.
Okay, all right. So, if ever may mga comment suggestions or whatever, you can just leave it on the comments section. Tapos, yun na. Dahil galing kaming as if it's true, hindi ako magre-reply. Charing. Pero if you wanna listen to this whole episode, just abangan niyo po siya sa aming website sa filmpolicereviews.com or on Spotify or wherever you listen to your podcast. Just look up Third World Cinema Club. Ayan. So two parts episode namin to on that Cinemalaya episode. So punta na po kami sa bonus round. Ayan. So magbabay muna tayo sa FB Live viewers. Bye!
Bye-bye po.
Bye. Shoulder. Bye.